We did not have anyone lined up for public comment on today's agenda. So I will move to the first item, which is consideration approval of the minutes from the March 20th, 2025 meeting. You should have received these minutes on Friday. I hope you've had an opportunity to review them. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions, corrections, additions? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay, and the minutes are approved. At this time, I will recognize our Executive Director, Faulkner, to give her a report. Monica.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Well, as usual, we do have a full agenda this morning. Following my report, our Vice Chair, Dad Duncan, is going to report on the Personnel Committee meeting last week. We're also going to hear from Brent. Who is Brent? If we're not in the back. Brent is the Regional Director for Ironman Group. And I think most of you know the St. Jude Rock and Roll Marathon is next week. As usual, we have entered into an agreement with Ironman. Historically, it's been a license and use agreement, but if you'll remember from last year, we kind of moved it more to a civic event type agreement just because of the evolving footprint and the changes that have reduced access to parking. So we're working with them on that. Brandon's been very busy, and so Brant will be here to speak a little bit more about the event. And then we will waive parking fees like we did last year. Following the marathon update, the Sounds will present their facility report, and we'll also hear from Heather Hill with Cumming Group. As you know, she's and her team are serving as our construction representatives. We will also hear from Bria. So the board's going to be asked to consider a resolution that is going to amend trust indentures between the Sports Authority and Regions, which serves as our trustee. And those are related to bonds at the new Titan Stadium. So Bria is here and will walk us through that this morning. Then we'll hear from Heather, and then the Titans will give their monthly report. Any questions about the agenda? Yeah, okay. So just one quick note, and I think it may be helpful for you all to know. The Mayor's State of Metro Address is May 1st. It's going to be at the downtown library. We're hearing it's a packed house. And that the RSVP link has been closed because I think that they've already kind of outkicked their coverage in terms of capacity. But I wanted to mention that to you because I know there are several of you who have come in years past, and the address will be live streamed, so definitely check it out if you get a chance, but just wanted to mention that. Any questions?
So you're mentioning that to say we're not invited. Is that what
I'm saying if it was on your calendar and you haven't RSVP'd, you may want to tune into the live stream.
Appreciate that point of clarity.
If there are no questions, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Monica. So at this time, we'll hear from Vice Chair Duncan. Personnel report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Personnel Committee met on Tuesday, April the 8th, last week. And the Personnel Committee also, we approved, first of all, the previous Personnel Committee meeting minutes, which were held on June 12th, 2024. So it's been almost a year. Director Dan Hogan walked the committee through a salary summary, which he had put together with help from Finance Manager Melissa Wells. The summary compares the compensation of various executive directors and CEOs for other authorities in other cities with the current pay of our current executive director, Monica Faulkner. Based on the information that we compiled, our director's pay is below average. The committee noted that according to Sports Authority bylaws, the board sets the pay of its executive director. Chair Bender reported that she had spoken with Bob Mendez and Metro HR Director Shannon Hall about the compensation of our executive director. Director Hall has requested we submit a salary summary and comparables and an updated job description to Metro HR in consideration of a potential salary increase. The committee additionally reviewed the current job description from HR and agreed that it needs to be updated. Staff will work to draft an updated description to present to the committee. The Personnel Committee voted to reconvene in May for information updates and to perform the Executive Director's annual performance review. The committee stated its interest in salary improvements for the rest of the staff as well as the Executive Director. So with that, Madam Chair, that concludes my report, unless there are any other questions.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Any questions, comments? As always, we will invite all members of this authority to participate in the review, so we hope that you'll make plans to attend. Thank you. Our next agenda item is the 25th anniversary recognition of the Rock and Roll Marathon. Ironman's Group's Regional Director, Brent Burnett, is with us to give a race update and share the significance of 25 years in Nashville. Good morning.
Thank you for having us this morning. Looking forward to hosting the 25th running of Rock and Roll Nashville next weekend. So just wanted to come quickly give an update on next week, and then more so really just celebrate 25 years that we've been here and the growth that we've had. So next week, the Health and Fitness Expo is Thursday and Friday at Music City Center, and then race days are Saturday and Sunday next weekend. We are over 25,000 participants again this year. All 50 states are represented in over 26 countries of participants that are coming to experience Nashville. So looking forward to hosting another great event for our 25th year. We did just put together about 2 slides. I think we have a short, just 50-second video that kind of showcases 25 years just quickly and where that's gone.
The 7th Country Music Marathon and Half Marathon. I think it says a lot about the city of Nashville, what it has to offer.
Rock and Roll Nashville isn't just a race. It's the best way to experience this iconic city. We're giving you more music, more fun, and more reasons to run with us. Get immersed in music culture and join us for this legendary tour of Nashville.
Just super cool to see just over 25 years, just some of the images and stuff that's coming from out there. So I just put together a quick kind of slide that's just kind of like by the numbers, and it's kind of cool to see. But we've had over 500,000 participants basically from 2020 until now through this year that have come to Nashville and experienced both our start and finish line. So great to host folks. I live here, so it's super cool to invite those people into my city too and get to showcase that. There's legacy runners, so we actually have 10 runners that have done either the half or full distance marathons since 2020, and some of them have actually moved away from Nashville, but they come back every single year. And so it's a special piece for us as we get to celebrate those 10 individuals that have raced every single year and continue to do so and come back and still be part of our event. And so we get to celebrate them just as part of this year. With our event, St. Jude Children's Hospital is our title partner, and they signed on with us back in 2012. And with them, we've been able to raise over about $13 million for the Children's Hospital. They have a branch here in Nashville as well, so super excited to continue partnering with them. In addition, through the Ironman group, which is what Rock and Roll is underneath, we have the Ironman Foundation that has a Rock This Town community give back program. And so also throughout the years, we've also given back about almost $70,000 in additional grants and funds to organizations here that partner with us and volunteer with us throughout the weekend. And so big piece for us is always to give back to the communities and wherever we go. And so able to do that just through St. Jude and through our Ironman Foundation. Running for everybody, it's super unique here and the only event in our series that we actually offer for all levels of runners. So Saturday's events next weekend is a half marathon, 5K, and 10K. And then Sunday's events are a 1 mile, kids rock, and then doggy dash, actually. And so we truly are open for all levels of runners to come out and participate, and maybe excited to host that. Throughout the 25 years, last year alone, we had about an economic impact of over $56 million for the city. And so just over 25 years now, we've been about over $800 million just since 2020. And looking forward again to this year that we've been able to kind of contribute to the local economy here. And then, obviously Music City, we offer bands about every mile on the course and a encore entertainment after the race at Nissan Stadium. And so, just throughout the years, again, we have about 25 band stages plus encore entertainment. And so we've been able to host about 650 just musical acts throughout the years, which is super cool. Again, music is what we do here in Nashville. And so being able to bring that and be part of the event is super unique. So that's kind of that slide that I had put together. Again, some cool infographics. The very first, St. Jude, it obviously was Country Music Marathon when it first started. Then it evolved into St. Jude Country Music Marathon, and now the St. Jude Rock and Roll Nashville event. So just some cool imagery from across the years. Again, my favorite event is the Doggy Dash that's on Sunday that I bring my dogs to as well. So, and then just the final side, again, it's really for us 25 years being able to celebrate and partner with a bunch of great local businesses and partners and agencies. This event can't happen without everybody in this room and everybody in the city. And so, we've been fortunate enough to work alongside some really great folks and businesses and, again, agencies throughout all of Nashville. And so really it's not just a 25 years for us, it's really 25 years of Nashville being a welcoming city and being able to host folks and being able to welcome folks year over year back to the city. So I'll leave it at that, but if there's any questions.
Thanks for that, and what you said is impressive. I just want to clarify something. Those 10 runners, they've been doing it 25 years?
Correct. So they've done, we started with the half marathon in 2020, eventually in 2000, and then added the marathon after that, and then, some of the shorter distances, but they've raced either the half or full distance since 2000. Super impressive.
Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for this event. Every year, there's energy in the city around race weekend, and it's fun. This race goes right past my house, and every year I have made a point of sitting out front watching these runners go by, and every year the costumes have gotten better and better and better. And I'm curious, is that a reality at your other events, or is that just a Nashville thing?
It's elevated in Nashville for sure. People love to run in costumes, just have fun with it. But, I think they take running here just up to a new level. And, again, you get to see it. But so many folks just come out on their front lawns and make some signs, hang out, have fun with an aid station. But, yeah, really, the community is full-on supported every single runner that comes by.
Yeah, it's a wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? If not, we thank you for coming and sharing this morning. It's very exciting, and really appreciate the impact that you all have made over 25 years, not only this community, but across the country. It's pretty amazing. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Next, we will have our facility report from the Sounds. Adam English, General Manager, and Doug Scopel, Assistant GM, will be presenting. And again, we want to thank you for hosting us this morning. It's always a pleasure. We're really excited to hear from you and to hear more about your kickoff of the season. So,
thanks.
I don't see.
It's great to see you guys. It's always great to host you all. Very grateful as well that a couple weeks ago when the storms came through, we didn't get any damage here at the stadium. So always happy to report that. Want to give you guys kind of a 2025 season look ahead, what we have planned here at First Horizon Park. First, it is our 10th anniversary of this building. It seems like it's flown by. I've talked to people who are at the groundbreaking. Doug was a part of all of this as well. But we're really doing all throughout this season is celebrating different points in time from the last 10 years of this building and the growth it's caused in this neighborhood. And so part of that is also hopefully at the beginning of June, we will be celebrating our 5 millionth fan to come through this ballpark as well, which is a huge feat and one that just proves how great the sports fans are here in Nashville. One of the special events that we are excited about as we are coming up in June as well is we are hosting Cosmic Baseball. So what that event is, we have back-to-back games. It's very similar to the vibe of the Savannah Bananas, except they're a little bit different from the standpoint that the first half of the game, while the sun's out, is very much a normal baseball game. There's about a 30-minute break in the middle of the game as the sun goes down where they go cosmic, and they play the entire second half of the game only under black lights. There's confetti cannons. There's all kinds of hijinks, but they really encourage the fans to wear clothing that activates in each of the suites. They bring in black lights all over the stadium. Our stadium lights won't even be on for the second half of the games. And so we're expecting back-to-back sellouts for that in June. We've already sold out the Saturday game. We announced the second game that should be sold out any day as well. Some really fun new additions this year. There's a lot centered around the bandbox, which has been a staple over the last 10 seasons here with their frozen drinks and all kinds of good stuff out there. We've completely redone the menu, revamped it. Excuse me. I mean, what ballpark wouldn't be complete without a big hot dog, big foot-long hot dog? But some unique things on this menu, and I'll highlight just a couple. One, we have a plant-based crispy chicken patty sandwich that is a great option for. We want to be a place where everybody can have fun and eat out here, right? So that's a great option for vegetarians that are coming out. The Korean barbecue cheesesteak has gotten rave reviews early in the season. The funnel cake soft serve is crazy good. It's a salted caramel ice cream with a funnel cake cone kind of piece in it. And then frozen little Debbie Swiss rolls bring me back to the early 90s of my childhood. And then we've added a new drink for the first time in 10 years out there, which is a frozen espresso martini that people have been enjoying thus far. Minor League Baseball wouldn't be complete without some great giveaways. We have plenty of those planned this year. We have a 90s throwback windbreaker. It pains me a little bit in my heart every single time I hear somebody say 90s throwback. But that's the time we live in. We've seen a variety of different looks over the seasons, especially in this ballpark. But in 2005, in Old Greer Stadium, we wore these red cutoff jerseys. And in 2005, we're also celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Pacific Coast League Championship. That's our last championship. AAA baseball is always a little bit different than other sports, where a lot of your top guys get called up mid-season throughout the season. So winning championships isn't necessarily always the goal at AAA. It's player development. But we think it's important throughout our time here to celebrate when the championships come. And then Rick Sweet is the active all-time winningest manager in minor league baseball. He has a very prominent mustache, and one of our favorite giveaways this year is a great reaction from the team is instead of it being a bobblehead, it's just the mustache that bobbles. So it is a Rick Sweet bobble stash. We love our clear totes here. We have a clear bag policy like all of the sports venues here in Nashville. We partner with Vanderbilt here. We always like to give away a clear bag so people just continue to get in the habit from a safety and security standpoint of entering our stadium with the right bags. Through our partnership with First Horizon, we always do some sort of University of Tennessee giveaway that our fans love. And we actually did the first one this last weekend on Saturday, and it was very popular with fans. But it's a reversible blanket. It was just cold enough to where they really enjoyed getting those blankets on the way in as well. And then we're doing it as part of our Hispanic fan initiative, our Copa de la Diversión. When we transform it from the sounds into the vihuelas, we always like to do a giveaway around that as well to really just kind of continue to tell the story as to why we're wearing a different name across our chest. Some additional giveaways. One of our other alternate identity identities is the Nashville Brewskis, in a nod to the Brewers and their baby blue uniforms. We're doing a bucket hat giveaway around that. So many fans like our lightweight hoodies, and those are really popular with fans now too. People who are younger and cooler than me a lot do the research on what some of our fans will really like, and really present us with great options. And then in addition to and continuing our effort to tell the story of Black baseball here in Nashville, we are doing a Butch McCord jersey giveaway, and we're honoring Butch McCord this year, which should be a really great time. We are also introducing a couple of a navy blue Elite Giants jersey this year that the team will wear on field through from Juneteenth through that weekend where we're having these celebrations. Some additional giveaways. We always try to do a bank related giveaway with First Horizon every couple of years, and so we thought a nice little guitar piggy bank. One I'm excited about for the kids. All the kids wear the batting gloves where you put the logo together. We've gotten people really excited about that, and just reusable water bottles in an effort to be green as well. Some of the additional theme nights, some staples, some new this year. Star Wars, Harry Potter, Margaritaville, The Nine, and Emo Night are all returning. And we're also really just appealing to families as well in the popularity of Bluey and Bingo. We're going to have a character appearance out here as a part of our back-to-school night with Bluey and Bingo out here to interact with the kids. I mentioned celebrating the 2005 Pacific Coast League Championship. Our effort around this is to bring back a lot of the players that were a part of that team. And I love hearing Doug Scopel talk about this team because it seems like they were such a tight-knit group of people. And really, you saw a lot of the success that the Brewers had 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, and those years came from the core of the people who won this championship at AAA. And so while not every AAA team goes into the year saying we're going to win a championship this year, there is a direct correlation between core groups of people that win championships at the minor league level and how that translates to success at the major league level. So hopefully we'll have a great reunion for that later this year as well. Just to highlight our 4 alternate identities, the Brewskis I've mentioned, the Vuelas I've mentioned. We also, as a part of Hot Chicken Weekend here in Nashville, we transformed into the Nashville Hot Chickens. And then, as I mentioned, and through that weekend, we will play as the Nashville Elite Giants, which is a great partnership with both Major League Baseball as well as the Negro League Museum in Kansas City. One other change that we made this year with our throwback uniforms is we introduced the royal blue. It used to be white on white. We figured because that truly is a 70s throwback look, an old school Bronco partnering with Ford to announce those was a great piece of social content for us. We always try to add to our players' experience as well when we're doing headshots, all that kind of stuff. So our creative team did a really great job putting together new backdrops. You'll see a theme through everything that we do this year that's tied into guitar amps and music. Because music, as we just heard with the marathon, music's such a vibrant part of this city that we want to lean into that as much as we can. Some top prospects for the Brewers. Jacob Mizorowski, he's the 4th-ranked prospect in the Brewers system. He's with us right now. He was just recently named the International League Pitcher of the Week. He's, 6'8", throws 102 miles per hour. He's a really great prospect. Logan Henderson, the 12th-ranked prospect, just got called up to the Brewers. So he's already come and gone. And then Craig Yoho is another pitcher that the Brewers are really, really excited about. We expect to see him closing games in Milwaukee sooner rather than later. So it's always great. While so much of what we do is fan experience focused here, it is great when we can highlight the talent on the field and you can see these people up close in this great venue in this great environment as a way to then cheer them on when they're at the big league level. There was a last Thursday's game was the culmination of our Tennessee State University mentorship program. During their spring break week in March, this group of people came out. They heard from me. They heard from every leader in this organization as to what it's like to work in minor league baseball. We talked with all these kids. And then last Thursday, they came out and shadowed us at a game. It's the second year that we've done this. It's getting better and better each year, and we're just looking for more ways to grow that partnership with TSU. Coming up May 12th is our second annual Sound Scramble, where people can buy a team, play with a player or a coach, as well as just get a group to support our foundation. We've really revamped our efforts on the foundation to connect with schools, grow the game of baseball through pop-up baseball, and there's a slide on that coming up as well. But the more we do with our foundation, the more ultimately the more we can give back to the community, which is always a staple of and just a founding principle of our organization. I mentioned continuing education. Every year we give 4 $2,500 scholarships to Middle Tennessee students that are continuing their education through college. We have people reviewing those applications right now and look forward to giving those away in the coming weeks. A really, really cool community event we partnered with Delta Dental on is we put together a free dental clinic for kids in Nashville. We partnered with Meharry, so many organizations. And this last year, we took it a step further in partnering with Samaritan's Feet and gave away 600 pairs of shoes to kids as well. So an event that we've done each of the last 3 years that's exponentially grown each year. And we continue to grow it with so many great community partners. So really, really proud of that event. I mentioned pop-up baseball. 6 times this year, we bring baseball equipment, go to a school, a YMCA, something like that. So if our players are in town, we bring them. If not, we partner with other local organizations like Pro 5, as well as we've partnered with the Grizzlies on this as well, with the Memphis Grizzlies. We go to a school, we teach them how to play baseball, we leave the equipment with them. And a great way to get kids excited about baseball, as well as just, learning a new skill. Through a great partnership with Vanderbilt, we always have players once a month over the course of the 6 months of the season go visit the kids in the hospital. They go to the Seacrest studio, they play bingo, they do all kinds of games with them. And that's always not only rewarding, for the kids, but really for the players. That's something that we get such positive feedback on from our players, really enjoying to interact with the kids in that way. And with this same partnership, we also do an honorary player, and there's just this great young man named Logan who has already been embraced as Landon, who has always been embraced, who's already been embraced as a member of the team. He's out here, he's got a bat, the Rick Sweet knows him by name. He's in the clubhouse with the guys, and that's always one of our favorite partnerships each year. That wraps up a long-winded season preview for us. I'd be happy to take any questions and anything else you guys need.
Questions, comments?
Well, I'll make a comment. It's amazing to see everything that you all are doing in the community. I'm excited for the mentorship programs, even just hearing about how you go to different institutions and teach them about baseball. I became a baseball fan a long time ago when I realized that at the end of every inning, my dad lets me go to the concession stand.
Oh, yeah.
So I became a real baseball fan. I was trying to go to every single one of them, and I'm from Birmingham.
Okay.
So we do have
the Barons.
We have the Barons there. So we had that opportunity, but it's great to see how the influence in a community is impacted by you all.
Thank you for saying that. And look, I have the pleasure of presenting all this stuff to you guys. I'd be remiss to not say that so many of these things are because I'm surrounded with just the best staff in minor league baseball. And the group of people that have a passion for this, have a passion for community, they really drive this stuff. So while I'm the one presenting it, there's a lot of credit that goes to a lot of great people in our organization. So thank you.
Any other comments? I, too, would just like to piggyback. There's so much energy around what you guys have going on, so it's a lot of excitement. I will say that I'm disappointed that we are not having a tasting from the new menu this morning.
I know.
So the next time we come, we'll look forward to that.
We'll get it ready for you.
But we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Uh-huh. Yes, Monica.
Adam, before you leave, I know we had a conversation about the scoreboard, and so wanted to see if you could give us an update on that.
I think Doug's going to come up and join me for this as well. Yeah. So essentially what we have, the conversation we had with Monica is that while our scoreboard is operational, on opening night we had some problems with our scoreboard. I think the positive, if there is one in there, is that wasn't a scoreboard related issue. That was a software related issue that we had on opening night. But what it did is it advanced conversations with people in the industries to talk about the fact that our board is, it's 12 years old, 11 years old. And what we're running into is we're getting to the point now where they're not making replacement parts anymore. If something were to go down, it's harder and harder to replace it. We either have to get refurbished things or, and again, we're going to continue to maintain this at the highest level that we can. But it spawned a conversation that I think in our January report, we brought up that, maybe a 27 or 28 timeline of we need to replace the scoreboard. And ultimately, we think that that's a conversation now that we need to move up to. We don't need the scoreboard for 26 necessarily, but we need to have the conversation starting to where we can get a game plan together for the start of the 27 season, which would be fiscal year 26.
We're talking about
April of 27. Okay. And so we've begun the process of doing some research on that side of things and hope to have a more concrete quote for discussion for finance committee and all that kind of stuff in the coming months.
Some additional background from my side. Outdoor jumbotrons are really, when the manufacturers engineer them, put them in there, they really have a 10-year lifespan is kind of what they say, because they're out in the elements all the time, depending on where you're at in the climate. It can be hot, it can be cold, it can be rainy, whatever. So we're obviously on year 11, season 10, but year 11 thanks COVID. And so we're in that range that most of these get replaced somewhere between year 10 and 15 is what we're hearing from the vendors and people we're talking to. We just did a site visit down to the Round Rock team in Texas for a couple reasons, and they're celebrating their 25th year this year. They just replaced their scoreboards for the second time. So in a 25-year cycle, you can do the math on that, every 12 to 13 years. And they're hot in the middle of Texas. Don't have much more data other than that, but I wanted to bring that one up since we were just there and that came up. So, when we get into this, a lot of the elements that are in the scoreboard right now are still going to, I think, be able to be used. We don't have those answers, but people are going to tell us that. Things like the power that's up there, some of the cabling, it's more of the front-facing things, the LED panels, the power supplies, and things like that go into those that we have to really replace, and processors that support it all that live in our control room. So those are things we're going to dig into this summer and have a report for you all sometime in the later this year, I think, is the plan.
Great. Questions, comments? I am glad we're having this conversation early, so I appreciate that. And we'll look to hear more.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
So next on our agenda, we will consider a resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of an amendment to the Series A, B indenture of trust, the Series C, D indenture of trust, each by and between the Sports Authority of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County and Regents Bank as trustee, related to the authority's public facility revenue bonds, which is the East Bank Stadium Project, Series 2023. That's a mouthful, but I'm happy to see Bria Smith-Edwards with Bass, Berry, and Sims, who they're our Metro's bond counsel, and she will walk us through this resolution. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. You might recall that I was here just a few months back. The amendments that we considered at that time are very similar in substance to the amendments that we'll be talking about today. And so most of what I'm saying might sound familiar to you. But essentially, as the current Titan Stadium indentures are written and interpreted by the trustee will, on each December 20th and June 20th, move funds out of the revenue accounts into the debt service payment accounts. And then those debt service payments are made on each June 1 and January 1. So that's about a 10-day gap. And in that gap, funds can continue to come into the revenue account, but as the trustee has interpreted the indentures, Regions is not able to then move those monies that have continued to accumulate over into the debt service payment funds. And that's true even if there is a shortfall and the money is available, they don't believe that they can move the money over. And so this amendment would just go ahead and shorten that gap down to 4 days, and that would allow us to capture most, if not all, of the revenues that would possibly come in that 10-day gap. And then those funds would then be allowed to, or be available to use for debt service. That's pretty much a good summary of the amendments. Are there any questions?
No questions or comments. I think it's just an attempt to bring us back in line because of the date timing of this issue. So, with that in mind, I will entertain a motion to approve this resolution. Second. Discussions? Questions? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposers, nay, and the motion passes. Thank you for being
so much.
here. Thank you. At this time, Heather Hill with Cummings Group, the authority's construction representative, will give their project management report. Good morning, Heather.
All right, so you've got the report there in your binders. We've got a nice little map up that we'll kind of reference, and I think we're going to keep that in your binders month over month just to help with the lay of the land. There's a lot going on out there. I want to start with a few MOU items. If you recall, when this body approved the GMP, there were some outstanding items that we are continuing to work on. That's the first section of that report. A few of those are moving forward. A lot of coordination is going into those, so none of them are of any major concern at this time. It's just taking a lot of bodies to figure out and coordinate the best way to achieve what everybody believes is the correct end goal.
Heather, if you can give us a moment.
Sure.
Did you find the tab? Yes. Okay. That's behind tab 7, I believe. Oh, in the back. Okay. Under comments group, blue tab. There you go. Thank you.
There we go.
Alrighty.
So, as part of those MOU items, a couple of the ones that are definitely moving forward here lately, retaining wall between the South Plaza and where Fallon is. That parcel where Fallon is a little bit lower than the South Plaza. That retaining wall is an open item that is being discussed. And that design has been provided and is going back and forth. So I expect a pretty expeditious closure of that item over the next 30 to 60 days. Another one to point out, and this is one of the reasons I asked that the map be pulled up, is South 2nd Street. So 2nd Street as it stands today will be shifting towards the river due to the location of the new stadium. And that work will actually begin this year, and the RFPs are out right now to contractors to bid that 2nd Street move, if you will. There is a section, if we can kind of look there, from South Plaza on to Shelby is the first section that will be built and constructed. Again, that will start this year. Of course, the JJC and the existing building, those buildings will both need to come down to complete the relocation of that street. Moving on to continued design. Even though we've got full plans, things are under construction, coordination items, questions, things like that are always coming up. We are getting addendums roughly every 6 weeks, and we are reviewing those for any material changes that might need to come back in front of this board. None have been recognized as of yet. along with those addendums, as you can imagine, those change orders are coming through from TBA to Titans. We are involved in those discussions as well and reviewing to ensure we're watching the budget that this board approved, and that is all maintaining. So good news on that front. We're still within our budget and moving forward. The funding process, if you remember last year when we kind of walked through that, it's a pretty tight window with a lot of people weighing in to ensure that we have the proper documentation backup, that the right folks are approving it. That process has found its rhythm. It's still a lot of work, but it is moving on schedule monthly, and we've had a few months there where it's really gone well. And then the last thing I want to kind of bring up, and I know that Titans will follow and do a more deep dive on construction, but is the DBE and workforce piece. And I believe they will speak more to this as well. But I just want to report to this board, it's going really well. A lot of hard work has gone into making sure that what is occurring is proper and right, and that we are also documenting and getting those things corrected or correctly documented. And just want to, big shout out to BAO for working with us. Of course, Titans, TBA, and TVS for really rolling up the sleeves and making sure we're doing the right thing and documenting it correctly. Any questions?
Yes, we have a question.
Good morning. Forgive me if you just said this.
Sure.
But the Interstate Drive discussions continue. Is Interstate Drive the road that has the major elevation gap that we're trying to address, or is that what you were referring to on the Second Avenue side?
So the major elevation is actually that we're talking about the retaining wall is on the Plan East side. It's actually the south side of the building between the plaza, the South Plaza, and where Fallon will build in that kind of green area on the map. There is an elevation change from Interstate Drive to the drop down to get into the garage and the loading dock, and that is already being addressed with a retaining wall as well.
So am I mistaken? Is there not a persistent elevation change on one of the roads that has yet to be addressed, or did I misunderstand that as it was?
Not an elevation change on the roads, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions? If not, I have a question, and I'm not sure it's for you or the Titans, but I'm just curious with all this going on as it relates to tariffs and costs. Are you all doing anything to plan or to look ahead to see what our numbers will look like going forward and if there'll be major adjustments in our future?
Is that something you're going to address? It sounds like Adolfo is going to address. But yes, generally in the development world, it's a lot of unknown and a lot of guessing, but ensuring that we're watching that for the budget.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next, we will hear from the Titans DBE update and Stadium Monthly Progress Report, Adolfo Birch. With the Titans is here, and also joining him is Reggie Polk of Polk and Associates. Welcome.
Thank you, as always, for having us here and giving us an opportunity to kind of update you on the stadium project. As you can see, we have a slightly different crew today to present to you, and that is for two reasons. First, John Gromos and Kellen DeCourcy are getting some much-earned time away, but probably more important, we now have an opportunity to bring up Reggie Polk to talk to you guys for a minute. And as you know, Polk and Associates is part of the TBA stadium team as a joint venture member. And that Reggie's firm also did the work separately, but on the Titans house over in Germantown. But if that were not enough, Reggie has recently been honored as the Tennessee Small Business Person of the Year by the U.S. Small Business Administration. That is awarded to one person per state, and he is now eligible for the national honor, I guess, which you'll find out in the next month or two?
Yeah, May.
In May. So before Reggie walks you through the construction portion of our update today, I thought it might be helpful and useful to the authority to hear a little bit about Reggie, his story, his business journey, and kind of the impact of this project for his firm and for others that are associated with him.
Good morning. Well, first of all, I would say both Tenor and myself, we are incredibly honored to carry the mantle for the state of Tennessee to Washington, D.C. So we get the opportunity to go there in May and represent our great state and the voice of small businesses here. But just to receive such a tremendous honor is very humbling. There's so many fantastic businesses in my opinion, I think are doing way better than us. But to receive that nomination is very humbling, and Tenor and I are both very proud to receive that. You know, we started our company back in 2011 with just a dream that, you know, we knew we wanted to own a business and start a construction company. We didn't know what we didn't know. We did a lot of things wrong, and we remember those things that we did wrong, but we learned from that. And we take those experiences to share that with other small businesses so that they don't step in the same holes that we stepped in, and they can navigate away from some of the challenges that we faced. But as a small business, you know, first generation small business, we've taken the time to invest in our team, in our company. And I know I'm the face of the company and I get to speak on behalf, but we have such great professionals that work for us. Tenora, I'm just so proud of her support and the creative ideas that she has for our company. And we just continue to grow together, and we're both passionate on elevating Polk & Associates, but also elevating our team, because we understand that there's nothing we could do without the power and expertise of our team. So I'm glad to represent the face of it, but, you know, I've told my team, listen, this is a victory for us. I'm going to DC for us, and if we get the national award, that's for us and all small businesses. So I'm really proud to represent that today. So thank you for that. But enough about us. We want to continue and share some more construction updates with you. So I will roll right into some of our construction updates that you'll see there on the screen, which, you know, if you were able to stop by the stadium just last month in May, we got to celebrate 1 year of construction progress. And you think about how much work you could get done in 12 months. This is tremendous. You know, we've gone vertical in so many different areas. We have 118 elevated deck pours that are scheduled for this particular project, of which we've completed 109. So we're sitting at 92% completion on those elevated deck pours. Then, of course, there's a lot more concrete that's going in there. We have the slab on grade areas, in which we're about 47% complete. And then of all the elevated parking garages, the concrete that goes into that, all of those are 100% complete. Next picture, you'll see all the cranes that are here. So we talked about the concrete in that, and that's going into the particular project. And one thing that's very impressive, everyone talks about all the cranes that are around Nashville. Well, we have 7 of these large cranes that are currently on the job site. We call those crawlers because they move so slow. But just the 7 large cranes, you know, you can't help but to drive past the stadium, and you got to really focus to keep your eyes on the road, because you naturally just want to look and see all the progress that's going on there. But all the precast stadia, which is the seating that goes into the structure there, you can see that's just lacing the interior of the project there. So we're about 42% complete with all the fabrication of the stadia that's in there, and 12% complete with erection of that. So this view that you're looking at here is the view from the northeast corner. Next slide here. We got, I love this because this is a great representation of where we are today with all the steel that's going into this project. So 18,785 tons of steel going into this project. That's a lot of steel. And so currently we have 25,600 pieces installed. And there's a lot more on the way. So our workforce, which we'll get into that here in a moment, our workforce of the steel workers is just continuing to increase. And one thing I really appreciate about the steel workers is just their work ethic and their attention to detail, because that's such a critical component of this project. So here in this picture, you can see the 400 level that's being displayed here, and just the steel that's going in there.
Okay, with that, we'll turn attention to the participation aspects of the project. As you can see, our numbers are up from last month, or from last month's report across the board. So we're currently ticking at, in terms of paid, total paid to DBE-related firms, we're up to 81, close to 82 million. That's up from 73, I think, 0.8 million from the prior month. We've also increased the number of firms that have been able to participate to 63, and that's up from 57. That 81 or $82 million number still keeps us in the 23% range, taken by percentage, and that is, we're tracking where we need to be, and are still quite confident that we'll reach our overall project goal. Also wanted to report a little bit on local participation, and we're still holding strong at 114 Tennessee-based companies have been able to work on the project, and that's out of, I think, the denominator of 277 so far. So that number remains good. That's in the 40% range. It was obviously very important to us from the start to really be inclusive and make sure that Tennessee local, state-based firms were able to participate fully in the project, and our numbers are bearing that out as it stands. I also wanted to follow up on a question that came up last month about the criteria for small business. So the short answer is there's some structural organizational requirements, but the primary things that the certifying agencies use is fewer than 100 employees and gross receipts of less than 10 million over the past 3 years. Those are the sort of from a financial component, that's the criteria that's used. Let's see, what else do we have? Bringing up the tariff question, I think the short answer to that is we're reviewing everything. There are going to be some impacts, we believe. We're still assessing what those are. As it stands, we don't think there's anything that is significant to the extent that it would jeopardize the project in any way, but that is ongoing, and I think we may have more information to report as all of us figure out where all of that is going. But we're certainly tracking on it and trying to make assessments as to where we stand. So with that, I'll turn it back to Reggie to talk about the workforce end of it.
Thank you. So I'm really excited to share some further information on our workforce, because one thing that we're seeing here are just positive trends. And so when you look at the total number of workers that have actually touched the job site, 2,331, that's a 12% increase. But where it really starts to show is when we look at the minority and female and promise zone workers that are touching the job site. That's really where the impact shows. we see the numbers, but the impact of this project far exceeds the numbers. With the minority workers, we've had a 6% increase, positive trend. Really excited about that. And of course, that number, 1,270, that represents about 55% of the overall work hours on the project. And then, of course, on the female, we've had a 16% increase of that. Now, one thing to keep in mind with these numbers, as the work on the project continues to change and we start to move into different phases, these numbers are going to flow a little bit differently. But overall, we're still tracking in the positive direction. So really excited to see that 16% increase there. And then where the rubber meets the road is the promise zone, because that's actually Nashvillians getting in the pocket and getting on this project and taking advantage of this opportunity. So we've had a 7% increase in the promise zone workers on the project, but that number, that 414, that represents an 18% of the overall worker hours on the project. So one reason I just highlight this, because we talk about getting Nashville involved in this project, getting local small businesses involved in this project, and this is where it shows right here in the promise zone. So I'm really excited to share that. We're averaging about 1,000 workers a day, so there's a lot of people to collaborate with and work with. And so as a staff, we're stepping back and we're looking at what do we need to do to better support the workforce on the project. And so there's a lot of collaboration with the Titans organization and ourselves to make sure that we're keeping everything moving forward in a safe manner, and of course we're achieving the highest quality.
Also, I should point out here that it did pass the 1 million labor hours. That's a pretty significant milestone in the project space. So I think there was a celebration, at least commemoration of some sort, to honor that. But that's a pretty big milestone from a project perspective, and that happened over the course of the last month.
So with that, with the workforce, what's most important besides getting the stadium built on time with the highest quality is keeping everyone safe. And so there's a great emphasis on the health and safety of every person on the project, regardless of what you're doing. So we're continuing with our health checks. So we've had year to date, or inception to date, 3,500 wellness checks. And that just involves blood pressure checks, basic checks, how are you doing? As the weather starts to change, we'll adjust that approach. When it's hot outside, making sure everyone's staying hydrated properly and taking those extra precautionary measures. So, but these are proactive engagements. This has nothing to do with any type of incidences on the project. It's just purely making sure that everyone's healthy and they're in a great position. For the safety incidents in March, we've had one new recordable, which we've been able to clearly identify that. And obviously we take these very seriously. And just to shed a little bit more light on that, we had one of the steel workers who was mishandling material. And as they were moving some tube steel, it fell on their foot and they incurred a hairline fracture in their foot. So even though that worker is okay, that's still a recordable. But we did identify with the company that it was a mishandlement of the material. And so we did a safety stand down and we had a conversation with that company and also others to make sure that we mitigate this in the future and not incur that again. And so we're really proud of the response of the company and of course the other workers, and we use that as an opportunity of training and awareness that you've been doing this for 20 or 30 years, but you can't be careless. You have to be careful with that. So but then of course we've had 18 new first aid cases, and that's minor, debris in the eye, muscle strains, making sure everything's being lifted properly, and so we track those. But what we like to focus on is our recordable incidence rate. So you'll hear the RIR rate. So currently we're at 1.06, and we talk about positive trends. So we're down from last month. Last month we were at 1.17 for the RIR rate. So we're down to 1.06. But even more impressive, the industry average is 1.71. And so we're well below the industry average with a goal to get down to 0.50. So what does that mean? More focus on our team, more focus on the workers in the field to keep them safe, make them aware of, you have the expertise to do what you're doing, and you've done it for 20, 30 years, but stuff still happens. And so how can we keep you safe? And so we put a greater focus on that. And then, of course,
Move it to the next phase. Let me ask a question.
First of all, I very much appreciate you guys being as focused on safety as you are and reporting to us every time we get together. And the fact that you've had 7 recordable incidents in 1 million man hours, I think, is a remarkable achievement. I'm curious, though, how is the recordable incident rate calculated? If you've had 7 and the rate is 1.06, what is it divided by?
So there's a theoretical calculation that we do on there, which you would take that number of 7, and then there's a baseline of 200,000 that you do a multiplication factor against that 200,000, and then you divide that by the 1,320 man hours. Let's see, we divide that by 1,320, which is a calculation that we have on the project, and then that number will then calculate the 1.06, which is where we come up with that, the RIR rate. So we're just taking different components of the project.
And that's a standard calculation.
It is standard. That's a calculation. Yeah.
So it's clear as trigonometry to me.
We use our calculators and programs.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you. And then, of course, the heart of the program is the, workforce development, the TC2 program. So we just, March the 28th, we celebrated and graduated cohort number 6. And so at this point, we wanted to pause and just look back at the program to determine our impact. And this is a great time of reflection to look back at the amount of people that have applied for the program. So the first win is just to get people to apply. That's awareness. So we've had 359 applicants. That's a win. But then now we've had 67 participants of the program. In my opinion, that's a win plus, because we're getting people to come through and they're learning and they're growing in the construction industry. And then you get to graduate 64, and that's a win plus plus. And so when we get into it and we're looking at the people that are going through the program, number one, they're aware of the program, and some people that apply are just not ready for it yet. They're inquiring, but they're not ready for it yet. And so we're trying to determine a good path for them so that at some point they'll be able to participate. But what's really impressive is just the amount of students that are graduating and they're receiving certifications. So we've issued 64 OSHA 10 certifications, which means that this is workforce ready people that are ready to hit the streets in Nashville at a safe rate. So that's really important. And then we've also had some other core certifications that have been earned to the tune of 57 as well. One area we're really proud of, not only on behalf of TBA, but also on behalf of Polk & Associates, is we're able to hire these workers and give them career opportunities. We've personally, Polk & Associates, we've hired one, and they're working on a project which is unrelated to the Titan Stadium. So we're giving them real life career opportunities. And this one gentleman, we're looking forward to him pursuing the construction industry, and we're looking for some opportunities for him to attend Nashville State Community College and help further his career. And one of the things he expressed to me was, thank you for taking the time to invest in me when no one else would, to give us opportunities. But that's just one story. We have a lot more stories that we can share through this program and the impact that it's making. But I'm really proud for us to be a part of this. And the numbers don't tell the full. The people coming out of the program and the people that we're touching is what tells the full story. And I'm excited for you all to see that as the months continue to progress.
So with that, I do want to sort of mention two things, tee a couple of things up for you, and then maybe we take some questions if you have any. One, along the same line of opportunity, one thing that we've got in the hopper now is the heavy metal summer camp, and that is actually a place for rising juniors and seniors in high school to get hands-on, hands-on experience in both sort of union and labor trades, whether it's sheet metal, electrical, piping, plumbing, those sorts of things. And they'll be able to go through that camp. They'll receive tools afterwards. They'll receive work boots and other things that really help them as they explore the possibility of potentially looking at a trade, post high school graduation. That's something that anyone that's interested can apply to. The application process is up and running. It's at NashvilleStadiumConstruction.com. So if there are folks who think they have folks who might be interested, we would encourage them to apply to that directly and soon. The only other thing I wanted to highlight was coming up, we will be issuing the call to artists to look for those who might be interested in providing art or making art for the project for the new stadium. We will report on it more in May, in the May meeting, when we have some of the details down, but look out for that. We'll try to send the information on that to as many people as we can to make sure that anybody who might have interest in doing it would be able to do so. So I think with that, we've probably concluded our report, but if there are questions, we're happy to take them.
Any questions or comments? If not, great report. I personally am pleased to see the DBE numbers kind of broadening out a little more, so I think we're doing great in that area, and also congratulations on the safety of this project. So
Thank you
with that
much.
in mind, we thank you for being here, and thank you for the report.
We appreciate it.
So this is the time we set aside to for the directors to ask questions of our facilities or partners who are not reporting today. Any questions or comments? If not, this concludes our agenda. So our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 15th at Ford Ice Center, Bellevue. The Finance Committee will meet immediately before the full board. The Personnel Committee will also meet sometime before the full board meeting. The staff will survey committee members for their availability, and as always, a public notice will be sent out. Any questions or comments? And if not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Have a good day. Happy Easter.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.